Okay, it looks like we're back on. So Ron, if you would like to go ahead with your public comment, please.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
No. No, this has to do with the letter that you received from Inyo County as refers to your 2020 Urban Water Management Plan, sent by the Inyo County Water Director. Again, what Inyo County is doing is exactly, and you may hear about this again when you talk about the GA, but again, what Inyo County is trying to do is take away particular options that are available to not only this district, but the GA. And because the crux of the letter is, basically, I'll paraphrase it, don't you dare ever say anything about LADWP. We don't want it, we don't want to hear it, we want to take it out of all correspondence whatsoever. And at the least, it's premature. And at the most, you got to be given a chance to look at all the options available. So I wholly disagree with Inyo County's stand as an obstructionist, and that's exactly what they are, obstructionists. Rather than trying to help this valley find the most economical means to attain water, they are just basically there for one reason only: we're going to obstruct anything to do with LADWP, and if you talk about it or mention it, we're going to argue with you. So I highly recommend that anything that you have in the plan about continuing to look at the option, that you keep it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Sanat. I would like to start by telling you that I'm a native China Lakean. If there ever was a time for we the people to stand up and make our voices heard, it's right here, right now. Over the last 9 months, we've watched our nation walk into the shadow of the valley of death. I believe the vast majority in our country have been awakened, and you'll understand why I'm willing to stand here today, and you'll know why I'm doing what I'm about to do. I intend to file a class action lawsuit in the federal court against Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority et al. Et al is Latin for and others. Who are the others? Stay tuned. I'm here today because of what you're doing as a board of directors. You're leading the way. You had the guts to file a comprehensive adjudication lawsuit against the Groundwater Authority. What you're demonstrating with your leadership is action. Most importantly, it's the right thing to do. It's true. If you hadn't filed your lawsuit, I wouldn't be planning to file a class action lawsuit in federal court. I'm willing to be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, but somebody has to do it or we're toast. And that's no joke. But it's the Indian Wells Valley Water District that's leading the way. It's not only the right thing to do, we have, as Americans, have an obligation and a duty to protect our rights, or as you can see, we'll lose them, and we'll lose them all. This could be a fun class action lawsuit if there ever is such a thing. Everyone in the valley can play along and join the fight. Here's 2 things you must keep in mind if you're a resident in the Indian Wells Valley. If there's a government agency in this town that truly represents we the people, it's the Indian Wells Valley Water District. You're fortunate to have Don Zadiba as the general manager. I don't know why he's still here. I thought he'd be retired by now and moving to Arizona. I would like to thank Don for sticking around. You may have to stay here a little bit longer. Don, I would have come out of my shoes too if the city council had treated me that way, and I'm with you. This is our water district. We built it, and Don has been here for the entire era of the Sigma. This is very important for the water district, and it is important that he stay here until we resolve this mess. Sorry, Don. In addition to working to bring us clean, fresh water, you know that this isn't about just importing water or paying the replenishment fee to refill the basin, which, by the way, is the same thing as paying for water that someone else consumed in the past. You know it's all about your future and your children and your grandchildren's. There are many people in the valley that understand water and wells. There's no need to drink bottled water in the Indian Wells Valley Water District. Think of fresh mountain water without the arsenic. It's about the best you can get, bar none. We have to have water. It's the springboard of life. I had the good fortune to live in the most dynamic economy in history for 35 years. And it was water that started it all. The Central Arizona Canal is the only reason the Phoenix metro area has 4.5 million people. Now, I'm not suggesting that growth is a good thing for the Indian Wells Valley, If we're going to grow, we must fix first what we have. The work you're doing now is part of that. But growth for the sake of growth is a bad thing. It's unsustainable. We live in a desert. Phoenix is a desert. And the growth in Phoenix is absolutely unsustainable. Look at Las Vegas. Although they've been able to bank some of their Colorado River water using strong conservation programs, all the states in the compact are running out of water. This is the biggest headline that should be in the news for September 13th, 2021. The first ever Colorado River water shortage declaration was made today. That's today. It's never happened in the 100-year history of the Colorado River Compact. You know this is about private property rights, which are one and the same with water rights. And I don't believe the mayor when he tries to scare you by telling you Armageddon is coming with a 75% water reduction. Even he admits he doesn't know about water, but he invests in it. That should tell you something. He's setting you up to be a loser. And we're Americans, and we don't like losing. When our leaders fail in their sacred duties to uphold their obligations to the people, it's time to fight. We've been fighting since the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia, July 4th, 1776. We may have to take on the Navy and the Bureau of Land Management, the two big gorillas in our house. If anything is to be learned from the tragedies of the Civil War that began in 1861, World War I and II, and the wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Vietnam, and Korea, it's that in war, there are no winners. China Lake NAS shouldn't be in competition with us when it comes to water. I don't know what to say about their strategy. They are unwilling to come to the table and are using backdoor methods to get their way. They are not a good neighbor. I know many of you don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. If the U.S. Navy can't figure this out and offer a solution, we all lose. We're at war with ourselves. There will be no winners unless we learn the mistakes of the past. And the Navy and the city of Ridgecrest have made plenty going back in time since the beginning. One of the most important things my dad ever taught me is to not be a quitter. So here I'm in Ridgecrest, California, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Most importantly for you, I'll have to probably keep my mouth shut for a while, and that's not going to be easy, as my friends will tell you. I'm sure there are a few out there that are jumping up and down with joy. I'm not making any friends here. You know what happens in this town if you get out of line. So I'm going to suggest that we all get out of line for a change and let them sweat a little. Cancel culture isn't necessarily new. It's been going on a long time. It's just called something different. I'm doing what I believe is the right thing, just as the Antelope Valley Water District is doing the right thing, and Searles Valley Minerals is doing the right thing.
Excuse me, you're past your 5 minutes during public comment, so
I have one.
We'll have to move on. You can comment when we get to that item. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Denise Kite. I have a lot of questions about the GSA, but we'll just start with the one that I ran across today.
If we're going to get on the GSA subject, we really need to get let's look at the GSA when we get to that item.
You want me to
Because
wait?
there's a time, we can't answer any questions on
Oh.
public comment, we can't respond.
You-
There's a 5-minute time limit during public comment, and there's not when we get to the agenda item. We let you speak as long as you need to, so that's why I would rather you wait until we get to the agenda item, because then you guys can speak as long as you want to and express your opinions, and we could actually reply, but we can take no action or comment during public comment. It's
Okay. What-
only for items. Out of line, yes. But, well, well, I'm pretty much gonna let anybody talk until they're done tonight, because I want the public to get their comments in, so.
Well, I don't think you're going to be able to respond on this. I don't think
Okay,
that this
well,
is something that
okay,
you
go
can
ahead.
respond to. I just kind of wanted to ask Stan, and you guys
But
are
Stan can't
involved.
answer you right
You're
now.
right, but he
Okay.
can find the answer for me.
Okay.
Okay, so I had a lot of questions. I called up the young lady, April, that is head of the office here. And I started asking her about bills that have been submitted, that they have paid. And so we started talking about attorney bills. And I was told that there's no way that I can see any attorney bills. And I said, well, you're a public agency, I should be able to see them. I don't need to see exactly what it was, just give me an amount. Can't do it, right? So she had her boss, Carol Keffer, give me a call. And she told me that there are a special joint powers authority. I have no right to see any expenses from the attorney. Their attorney has told them not to show the public expenses. And on their financial statement, they have nothing. No expenses that they've paid for their attorney for 8 months. So my question was, where's the transparency here? I mean, what kind of a public agency, when you're spending my ratepayer money, can't tell me how much you spent for attorneys for 8 months? So Stan, if you could check into that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Mike Neal. I got a little something for you here. I got some money. Everybody likes money, especially the GA likes the money. So you guys got to pay them a whole bunch of money. We got to pay you more than we want to pay. Last month, I'm billed $81.48 for the GA fees you were passing on to me. So instead of sending it all in, I sent the what I call proper charges, sent payment for those in, and tonight I'm going to pay the GA fee here in the public meeting under highest protest, the highest possible protest. I am so disgusted to have to pay this. I won't go into it here. Take more than 5 minutes. So I'm going to give this to Ms. Smith. She can enter it in the books, or whoever else enters it in the books. And I'm just going to tell you, gentlemen, I continue to say and reiterate for probably about the 5th time, this district needs to withdraw from the groundwater agency. As of last week, in that smarmy staff report by Keith Lemieux, who said he proudly presented it, admitted to being supposedly the only one who wrote it. I'm pretty sure there was some city staff in collusion with that. The GA is just dirtied itself. Lemieux, Phil Hall, Ron Strand, the old Mick Gleason, who's now gone, but his little agenda continues on, pressing forward, as we all can see plainly, is just made a big fat mess of this whole thing. The plan hasn't even been done right, hasn't been done completely. And here we are I'm paying you money for a fee that's being charged for a plan that's not even approved yet. So I protest this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Neal. Any other public comment?
Judy Decker. I have a question, and it's a question for you as a board and staff and legal counsel to discuss. My question is, since you pump the water that is used by the residents of the city of Ridgecrest, the wastewater is your water, is it not? Take it back.
Thank you, Judy.
And why can't you take it back?
Okay, any other public comment? Do we have any phone calls? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment. We'll move to item 7. If nobody on the board has an objection, I would like to move to item D, and we will go back and do A, B, and C. That way, the public can speak, and we can get them home early so they're not here all night, and just go straight to that. Okay, so we're going to move to item 7D, and it's the request for the district to finance the groundwater authority replenishment fee. I think Ty's going to go with that, correct, Ty?
Yeah, I thought I had more time.
Caught you off guard.
No, that's fine. Hopefully you all had a chance to look at the staff report. I'm gonna try to go through what it says as brief as I can, but it still won't be very brief, but I just want to make sure all the facts and everything are out there so you can be informed. So starting with a little background, the replenishment fee is a groundwater authorized fee imposed on a portion of the district's pumping, and it began January 1st, 2021. It's approximately $4.25 million per year for 5 years. All fees collected by the district are remitted to the Groundwater Authority, and the district does not receive any revenue from this replenishment fee. Recently, the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority and the City of Ridgecrest have both made requests to the district that the issue of the district financing its portion of the GA's replenishment fee be placed on the district agenda for open discussion at this board meeting. Now, to understand the potential ramifications and accompanying district concerns, we must start with the current status of the district's financial affairs, notably with respect to real and potential impacts related to long-term financing of the replenishment fee. Beginning in 2016 with the solar loan, it was for the purchase and installation of solar facilities to provide power to 6 district well sites and the district's main administrative office. District financing was secured through Mission Bank with an interest rate of 3.5%. The remaining balance on the 2016 solar loan is $6 million, approximately $6 million in principal and $1.7 million in interest, for a total remaining debt service load of $7.7 million. In 2018, December, the district issued certificates of participation, or bonds, to refinance the 2009 COPs, which were for the arsenic plant construction, and financed an additional $14 million for capital improvements projects. These include the Well 35, 4 tanks, 2 of which are repairs from earthquake damage, and a booster station are some of the projects in that $14 million. These bonds were issued with yields ranging from 1.64% to 4.1% and were based on existing market conditions and a district credit rating of AA-. The remaining balance of the 2018 COPs is just under $25 million in principal and an additional over $16 million in interest, for a total remaining debt service of $41 million. So those two together make up $48.8 million in debt load that the district currently has. Proposed replenishment fee financing. If the district were to finance the replenishment fee, the funding mechanism would be a pledged revenue bond. This means that the district would need to pledge or guarantee a revenue stream based on the district's collection of the GA's replenishment fee for the life of the full term of the financing. It would be approximately $23 million in principal and $10.1 million in interest, assuming an all-in true borrowing cost of approximately 2.5%. Public bonds are not the same as getting a loan from the bank. You are marketing to the bonds to investors, and potential investors in the bonds may look at many different factors when considering your request. One being the local circumstances, of which they would be looking at SGMA, basin growth, the groundwater status. Also looking at the certainty that the revenues to be used to pay the debt service on the bonds will be available for the full term of financing. And challenges, mostly legal, associated with the revenue stream. They'll be looking at the groundwater sustainability plan and the replenishment fee that are both currently being challenged in separate lawsuits filed by Searles Valley Minerals and Mojave Pistachio. Primary risk and uncertainty that those lawsuits could eliminate or reduce the replenishment fee and impact the amount the district could charge for the replenishment fee. The current pay-as-you-go model that we're in right now eliminates or at least mitigates the uncertainties presently facing the Indian Wells Valley Water District. The uncertainty of the outcomes of comprehensive adjudication only makes it more difficult to attract serious investors. The fact that the replenishment fee bonds would be for another agency's acquisition of water as opposed to district capital improvements presents additional challenges as well. Taking into account all of that and assuming the district were still able to finance the replenishment fee, long-term district financing obligation would be as follows: $54 million in principal, just under $28 million in interest, for a total of almost $82 million in debt service. Proposed capital improvements. The district is currently updating its general plan. We had a brief presentation at a workshop in July, and there are a number of recommended improvements to the system that will allow for optimal storage availability at all pumping zones and eliminate current bottlenecks in the distribution system currently addressed by workarounds. In the general plan, there's $12 million for the construction of 2 pipelines and $12 to $18 million depending on the level of storage desired for additional storage. The timing of these projects within the needed time frame will all but guarantee that the district will need to seek some level of funding from outside creditors. Additional bonding puts our credit rating at risk, investors become harder to find, and the likelihood of future borrowing may no longer be an option. The district places a priority on system upgrades and maintenance, which is critical to operating and maintaining a reliable and efficient system. Needed capital improvements are a priority, so any long-term replenishment fee financing should be secondary. Financing the replenishment fee could preclude the district from financing system improvements due to debt service costs, total debt load, and bond marketability. Assuming the district were able to finance the replenishment fee and the needed capital improvements, the long-term district financing obligation would be $83 million in principal, just under $40 million in interest, for a total of $122 million. The total annual debt service would be approximately $5 million. So conclusion, staff reviewed the included financial analysis of the district's current debt load and potential ramifications of not only financing the replenishment fee, also financing needed future capital improvements. Staff worked with Bill Fowle of W.J. Fowle Co. Public Finance. He was the district's municipal advisor on the issuance of the 2018 COPs. His primary concerns were the uncertainty associated with the 2 legal challenges to the GSP and the replenishment fee, comprehensive adjudication, and advised the staff to wait until challenges are resolved and adjudication complete. So staff recommends that priority be given to future capital improvements over the proposed replenishment fee financing.
Okay, thank you, Ty. Okay, we will now open this up for public comment, and then once public comment's closed, we will bring it back to the board for discussion. So if anybody has any public comment on item D, please come to the podium now and state your name.
Josh, you want to go? Okay. Ron Kosinski again. Congratulations. I think it's a well-written report and summary of what's going on. It's pretty much what I've been saying for quite some time, and I think the public understands it, that there's no way that I would want this water district or expect to see it put itself in any kind of financial jeopardy where it may have a problem providing the services they currently provide through the infrastructure that they have. If that is jeopardized and something was to happen, we may find ourselves with no water. Electricity goes out, another earthquake, and we just have zero water because you failed to meet your fiduciary responsibility of keeping the district infrastructure properly operating and updated. So what I'm saying is that this pretty much, it's a good job. It lays it out. I would expect that this board will not put this district at risk, and you concentrate on running this water district. I won't go into how this all came about, because I think you have another agenda item that's going to be talking about some of the issues that were about this. There's no sense in that. And another thing, if you're going to put this district in debt for roughly 30-some million dollars over, what's the typical length of these bonds? 30 years?
30 years.
That's what I thought. For 30 years, and you're going to hand a chunk of change to an agency that, at least to me, has shown no transparency in how their finances is handled. You keep seeing money moved around. You see replenishment fee money, almost $1 million moved to administration. You see extraction fee money, which was for generating almost $1 million, moved to administration, with no transparency of why that's happening. So not only I hope you make the decision that you keep our water district operating as financially sound as they are. And the last comment I'd like to make, I'd like Keith, if he's listening, Lemieux, to see the credit rating. He misrepresented me at the last time I spoke with the GA about saying that the water district credit was bad, when in fact it's an AA minus. You should be proud of that. And I want to make sure everybody understands you have a good credit rating. You need to keep it there to keep us operating. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Sorry, I was a little short on copies, a little more people here than I was expecting, but nice to see everybody. So my name's Joshua Nugent, and I'm here on behalf of Mojave Pistachios and Nugent Ranches. Here you go. We would like to thank the Water District for having this open discussion, which is honestly very appreciated. We encourage the Water District to hold off on financing the replenishment fee for the Groundwater Authority. Instead, we hope the Water District can further study and discuss the benefits and risks of pursuing a state water project entitlement in light of ongoing events. First, the replenishment fees underlying assumptions are being substantively challenged in the courts. There's a Department of Water Resources facilitation process that's going to be occurring during this time, which Mojave Pistachios and Nugent Ranches earnestly support. The GSP's not been approved by the DWR yet. The fee is exponentially higher than any other fee in the state. And most importantly, the Water District should not give the Groundwater Authority funding, since the Groundwater Authority has proven it will use the funds without adequate oversight or proper accounting. I'm going to kind of skip this next paragraph here and just let you guys know that there's some substantive reasons why the importation of state water projects has some significant hurdles, namely infrastructure and reliability. But the main point here is in kind of this last sentence here, is that we feel that the issue needs to be fully vetted in public and that the decision should ultimately be made by the Water District and not by the Groundwater Authority. We feel the Groundwater Authority lacks governance structure to provide the financial responsible management needed. At the latest Groundwater Authority meeting, the Water District's representative did yeoman's work on behalf of the residents of the Indian Wells Valley. When the Groundwater Authority was asked why the replenishment fee was being used to pursue recycled water funding instead of for the stated purpose of buying water entitlement, the Groundwater Authority responded that they simply expanded the scope of projects that could be financed with the replenishment fee. So please give me license to outline a very plausible future. With the supermajority clause that's in the Joint Powers Agreement and its bylaws, Kern County and the city of Ridgecrest can outvote the other 3 members of the GA board, and they could use a replenishment fee to fund a particular recycled water program that is against the wishes of the Water District. The Water District has finance committee meetings, open discussions, and clear communication. We would request that the Water District retain control and accountability for the hard-earned dollars of its ratepayers. And then I'll wrap up here. So ultimately, the message that we'd like to leave with the Water District is simply this. You and your board of directors are the best people to lead the water future of the Indian Wells Valley. Whether it's recycled water, brackish water, exploring the El Paso region, conservation, or indeed if an importation water project is deemed feasible and prudent, the Water District should be at the helm and in charge of the finances. The Water District is directly accountable to its ratepayers and operates transparently. We hope the Water District can emerge as a leader through the DWR facilitation process, and we repeat our request for direct discussions between stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Before I make my statement, can I ask a question? Okay. Prior to sending this letter to the Water District, making this request, has any of the board of the GA or the staff of the GA asked for any of the financial information of the Water District prior to that? In other words, do they have any information whatsoever about the financial, organization and current status of the water district before you received this letter, or that you're aware anyway?
Not outside of what's already publicly disseminated.
Okay, I mean, so, but they would have to ask or somebody, but that's not just all on the website, easily obtainable, right?
I didn't catch that, sorry.
It's not all, you can't just go on your website, or can you go on the website and get all the information like what you just relayed?
A lot of it, we have bond documents on there, we have our budgets, we have our audits, we have the general plan updates.
Okay, but there was no discussion, no formal request, or even informal phone calls or letters or anything else clarifying? I mean, I'm sure they would have had to clarify, because this stuff is not, just readily apparent to most people. You got none of that?
Not on my end, no.
Okay,
I think it's safe to say that there were some preliminary discussions among staff, and then everything else is whatever's been made publicly available.
okay.
That was the
All right. So, sounds like the GA really didn't bother to really look much into the water district's financial status and the loans they have and their expenses and so forth and so on. So, just throwing this request out, assuming that, hey, the water district must have plenty of money, let's ask them to go get a $25 million loan. Well, I don't have a whole lot else to say other than what I've already said before. For them to send a letter to you in status of not having an approved plan and asking you to put yourself on the hook, which you would be for the whole term of the loan bond after you got it and would have to pay it. They undoubtedly would take the money and it would get spent. I mean, it would be spent the way it's supposed to have been spent, because that's the way it's been spent by that agency pretty much since their inception. But they'd spend it, it'd be gone, and the water district would be on the hook, even if the GA went completely down the drain or had to start over, forming another plan. So my former comment, and it remains my comment, is only a fool would take out a loan to fund something like this in this kind of status. And I know you guys are not fools.
This whole idea of a sustainability fee makes my head spin. It's like a glass half full. Somebody drank it, and we're going to buy it in the future to fill it back up, and we're going to borrow money for it? That's insane. There's no reason to replenish anything. If we got water, you use it. If we need water, you import it. But the idea of paying a replenishment fee to fill up a half-empty glass